Hey guys, George here from the F1 Chronicle, and with Silverstone on this weekend, I'm going to bring you 5 drivers that you should be looking out for this weekend. So, 20 drivers in the field, I'm going to highlight a quarter of them and why you should be keeping an eye out for them during the Silverstone Grand Prix weekend. And the first one is someone, of course, that I have to talk about, George Russell, getting his first victory in Formula 1 for 2 years. Last time out in Austria, he was incredible. Obviously got lucky with the crash up in front of him, of course, but he took full advantage. Mercedes seems to be back in terms of their performance. They're not quite top level yet. They're quite a way behind McLaren and Red Bull, but they absolutely can mix it up for a podium. George Russell, I don't believe has ever stood on the podium in Formula 1 at Silverstone before, so it'd be an incredible result for him if he managed to do that in front of his home crowd. And you know, if he keeps his nose clean like he did around Austria, why not? Why not indeed? But someone who has stood on the podium a lot in Formula 1, well, the record in general, nearly 200 of them now, is Sir Lewis Hamilton. Now, his record around Silverstone is something special. He almost always finishes on the podium here. Mercedes have improved in terms of their performance, like I said. He's still not got that victory yet. He's not won since 2022, but that was the same for George Russell until last race. He also picked up his first podium of the season in Spain not too long ago, so I absolutely think he can get a podium this weekend. I really do see it happening. He has a real knack around Silverstone, not least as well because Mercedes' car is a lot better too, so look out for Sir Lewis at Silverstone. And I'm going to make it a British hat-trick. Of course I have to, because it's the British Grand Prix. The British hat-trick with a certain Lando Norris next. Now, Lando is going to be fired up no end after what happened in Austria with him and Verstappen. I've already given my thoughts on that and why I think it's pretty much 100% Verstappen's fault, and he absolutely should have got a penalty like he did. And not only that, it should have been a bigger penalty, I believe, too. But those are some of the videos. Do check them out if you haven't already, of course. But Lando Norris's record around Silverstone is pretty impressive in recent years. I mean, a second place last year, and he could have won it as well. I mean, well, probably not realistically could have won it, but he did lead in the early stages. If his McLaren was faster, he absolutely would have done. And obviously this year, his McLaren is a lot faster. Oscar Piastri almost won the race in Austria, only 2 seconds off George Russell by the finish, but Lando Norris is going to be very fired up, and I'm going to back him. I'm going to say it, I'm going to back him for a home win at Silverstone this weekend. I would really love to see it. Imagine if Lando wins at Silverstone. Oh my god, the orange, that would be a different kind of orange army, a McLaren papaya army instead. But yeah, I've given him a little mention just then as well. Max Verstappen is someone I'm going to be looking out for as well. I'm going to keep a close eye on that bad boy because, yeah, I mean, I think even he knows deep down that he messed up against Lando Norris, and deep down I think he might regret it, but at the same time I also think if he puts himself in that same position again, he'll do the same thing. So if Verstappen's leading during the British Grand Prix, whether it's through pure pace or strategy or anything in between, then I do think that he'll do the same thing again. And if he does the same thing again and takes out Lando Norris, I think there'll also be a riot at Silverstone too, which no one likes to see, of course. But all jokes and exaggerations aside, I do think he's got a great chance of winning around here. He did obviously win last year, but then again, he won pretty much every race last year, so it's not really saying anything. He's not had the best record around Silverstone over the years. He only had one other victory, and that was in the 70th anniversary Grand Prix before 2023. So yeah, interested to see how he gets on and how he reacts. Is he gonna pull out of any kind of move that he would normally go for? Don't think so. I don't think leopards do not change their spots, and that also applies to the Dutch Lion himself too. And the last driver I want to highlight is Charles Leclerc. Oh my god, Charles Leclerc. Oh, you know, he's not had a good few weeks. He really hasn't. I mean, he wasn't too bad in Spain, but in Canada was an absolute write-off. And in Austria as well, down in 11th place by the finish. Haas scored double points. Alpine scored points. The Racing Bull of Ricciardo scored points, but he did not score any points, while his teammate Carlos Sainz ended up on the podium. He needs to pull it out. He needs to do a good job this weekend at Silverstone, and it is a track that has suited him well over the years. He does do well around here. He got a podium in a very uncompetitive Ferrari in 2020, and he could have won had he not had damage in 2022 as well. But yeah, those are my 5 drivers to look out for, guys. Who's winning the British Grand Prix this year? Let us know in the comments below, and for much more content on Formula 1 just like this, keep it tuned to the F1Chronicle.com.